friends, I hope you're having a lovely week so far. And I am Dr. Emlah Tubuo, and you are listening to the Intentional Living with Emlah podcast. Today, I have the honor of having my wonderful and beautiful, smart friends. Everybody needs those in their lives. Dr. Emily Roederseimer, thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for having me, Emlah. And I would say the exact same back to you. Beautiful, smart friends you're one of them for sure.
I love that. Well, thanks for coming on the show with us today. And before we go any further, before I would love the audience is gonna hear your story through this, and I want them to connect with you. I want to give them a little bit of what I know about you, and I feel like that's very beautiful and inspiring. But my goal is I want to start with when I say intentional living, what comes to mind?
Oh, you and I connect in this way so very much, because intentional living in my mind is really thinking through your choices to create your life instead of react to it.
I love it. I love that.
And I
love that.
We know that you have to be intentional if you want to create health.
You do. Creating. And sometimes that is really hard in our society of today. It's difficult.
Oh boy.
She said
swimming upstream for sure.
Yes. Yeah. But I know this is something that you have lived, you are living, and for you since age 10. Now, if for those of you who do not know, Dr. Emily was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at age 10.
Yes.
Such a tender age.
Yes.
You know what? Now, when you look back, what do you remember around when you were 10? What do you remember your life being like?
I remember being scared. Lots of doctors, tests, procedures. They didn't know actually what I had for quite some time because it was so rare for my age. And I remember thinking I didn't have a lot of control or say, or there wasn't much I could do or contribute to this process. I was kind of at the whim of the doctors and the system. But there was a lot of love in the care I was receiving.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think ultimately what made me decide to be a doctor was to see how the compassion really helped me manage or get through that. And as with such a scary situation as a child.
So as a child during this scary, so I'm getting that compassion came from your parents, the caregivers, and the physicians that took care of you?
Yeah, physicians, nurses, all the staff. Yeah, I knew I wanted to give that back.
I was going to ask, that was going to be my next question. I was like, you going through all of this, being more exposed to the healthcare system as a child than the average child, and then you decide to be a doctor.
Yeah. Yes.
What more went into that decision of you deciding to go to medical school?
I've always been into science, and I always found the biological sciences pretty interesting. So the more I learned in school, I just was kind of fascinated with that. And I think like I said, the care that I received and knowing that in a scary situation, that love, that compassion somebody has for you can shift that situation seemed like a really cool thing to do.
That is cool. That is wonderful. So as a 10-year-old child, going through this journey, you were able to feel that compassion coming from your parents, from the physicians, the nurses, and all the healthcare staff. And that is really beautiful. Kudos to the healthcare, to the team that took care of you.
Yeah.
And I'll take you one step back. Do you remember your friends at school and your age mates? How did this impact them, and how did this impact your relationship with them?
Sure. Well, I know it really made me start to feel very different, somewhat isolated from them. I was on the softball team. When I was diagnosed, I had to quit the team because my knee was swollen and I couldn't run. And one of my friends carried my backpack for me because I was on crutches for a lot of my elementary years, and I felt different, and I felt like my life was going to be different than everyone else's, and I didn't know that there was ever going to be a way out of that. I kind of was pigeonholed myself into a smaller life, if that makes sense.
But look at you today. And I just know I do have friends who have children who have rheumatoid arthritis at a much younger age than 10 even.
Yes.
So, but this is living proof. Dr. Emily is living proof that despite what gets thrown at you, we sometimes define it and put ourselves into a hole. But listen, look at you today.
Yeah. I
Finish
broke out of that
you broke,
box.
yes,
Yeah.
going through middle school, going through high school, and
Yes.
then undergrad, and then tell us a little bit about your medical training, where you went to school and all that, you know,
Sure,
after, as we progress through this.
Sure. Yeah, I went to Ohio University and
Yes.
was trained as a DO. So
Yes.
that training, I think, had me kind of prepped for functional medicine
Yes.
eventually, because it's a lot of, you know, the whole body is connected and that sort of thing.
Yes.
But that it was a struggle, you know, having rheumatoid arthritis. There's a lot of fatigue. There's you know, you don't know how your body's going to show up for you from day to day. I was on a lot of medication, which helped me to get through that. But yeah, it was quite a journey.
So tell us, Emma, you were on a lot of medicine as a pharmacist. I really want to know. So,
Sure.
So through high school, through undergrad, and through your training in medical school, you just took medications the whole time as you taking care of yourself and just to be able to survive. And what are some of those medications that you took?
Well, so I was so young and there weren't really good things out yet. A lot of NSAIDs, right? So, you know, the listener might think of like Advil, Aleve, that type of thing. I took prescription NSAIDs for most of my
time. Yes.
Gold injections.
Yes.
You remember learning about that back in the day?
I only read about it. I don't really know much about it. I just only read about it and wrote about it in an exam.
Yes. And then I remember in my teenage years, methotrexate was starting to be used.
We still dispense a lot of methotrexate. We still dispense a ton of methotrexate.
Yes. And so that was I was on that through college, through med school. And then after somewhere in my 30s, I believe, or later 20s, Enbrel was added. And for me, the combination of Enbrel and methotrexate controlled my symptoms for pretty well. Pretty well.
Yes.
And I didn't really know that I was ever going to get off of those. I thought that would be the rest of my life, and this is how it would go. And then I found functional medicine and everything.
So
changed.
if you caught on that, she is no longer on methotrexate. But before I jump out of that, I just want to talk about methotrexate for a little bit. Methotrexate is one of those medications that, you know, as a pharmacist, when I see a prescription coming for methotrexate, I'm looking for the next prescription. The next prescription has to be folic acid.
Correct.
Because methotrexate has been proven to deplete the folic acid we have in our body.
Yes.
And folic acid has a ton of functions. So I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about that nutrient depletion induced by methotrexate.
Yeah, I mean, it really does deplete the folic acid, which is so necessary for healthy skin, hair, nails. You know, I know that if without it, there's often mouth sores, hair loss, different things like that. So it's very, and it has you know better than I do. I'm going to pass the torch back to you, but all the functions of folic acid. So when a medication depletes something that important, it really does need to be replaced. It
definitely needs to be replaced. And folic acid is also one of those nutrients that we make sure that expecting moms have an abundance of folic acid.
Right.
But a lot of times when we see a prescription coming for methotrexate, we see a prescription coming for folic acid, and it's usually for the synthetic folic acid.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit, because I always make sure that I give the patient a methylated form. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think most of us with autoimmunity likely have a genetic condition, or condition's not the right word, but a genetic change that doesn't allow us to utilize synthetic folic acid. So we need a pre-methylated form, which allows our body to just take it in and utilize it right away. If we don't methylate well, which I know I don't, and a lot of others with autoimmunity don't, then we do need that methylated form. So it's often just a safer route to go to have everyone take a methylated version than synthetic.
I love it. Rather than getting everybody coming into the pharmacy to get an MTHFR, check, or, and see, do we have this genetic mutation? Do we have this polymorphism or not? But what we want to do is just go ahead and get a methyl B complex. And I'm going to put a link to our methylated B complex in the show notes, and you can click on it and read it. I do not have an autoimmune disease, but a lot of my patients and friends do. So, but I still take a methylated B complex, because in the morning, there's no harm in it, because it increases energy levels, helps with cognition, helps with a lot of changes in the body. And this is just the benefits innumerable. Like it's when somebody comes and thinks of, low energy, fatigue, mental health issues.
Well, and
a methylated B complex.
The stress in our day-to-day
Yes.
life really depletes our B vitamins. So
Yes.
adding that in is very helpful.
That's a very, very easy anti-stress supplement, number one, with minimal to no drug interactions.
Sure. Perfect.
So that is the methylated B complex that I highly recommend that everybody. It's actually the guidelines now. At least we're doing something right. In the guidelines, if you're taking methotrexate, you have to take folic acid with that. So tell me about this. You move from methotrexate, Enbrel is added, and that's a biologic.
Yes.
So tell us, how that went for you.
That is just it's very successful treatment.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's quieting my immune system. So it's kind of my immune system. The way I like to think of it, our symptoms, our conditions, our signals, our body is talking to us.
Yes.
So my immune system was upset. I had this autoimmune condition, and I was just basically telling it to be quiet.
That is true. You know what? I want to take you one step back and ask you, when we say an autoimmune condition, what does that really mean for my listeners?
Yeah, there are hundreds of autoimmune conditions. Rheumatoid arthritis is one of them.
Yes.
And it's the immune system gets confused and starts to attack our own tissues.
It's sad.
So for me, the immune system was attacking the joint lining. For some people, Hashimoto's thyroiditis is one of the most common ones. The immune system is accidentally or by mistake attacking the thyroid tissue. Can be many other things as well.
Yes.
And so we want to know why is our immune system confused? What's underlying that? Functional medicine is all about the root cause. And instead of just quieting it down.
Yes.
Now, I don't discount the benefits I got from those medications was profound.
100%.
And any listener who is on a medication, please, I am not trying to have you stop or, but just to empower you to know that there may be some underlying root causes that we can start to shift and adjust. Maybe you don't need as much medication, or maybe like me, you at some point you are able to stop altogether.
Well, this is one of the reasons that I love you, Dr. Emily. And you heard the lady. She said the benefits that I got from the medications were profound. So she's always thinking of in addition to, not instead of. And what are the non-pharmacologic options? Because from her journey through medical school and her journey in her own personal life as she was taking those medications, she started researching and discovering what else can I do to lead a better life? What else can I do to have, the activities of daily living to be satisfied and to be able to just, don't have my joints hurting the whole time.
Right.
So as you were researching and you stumbled across functional medicine, can you tell us, can you take us there?
That was the best day of my life. I read an article by Dr. Hyman, just came across my desk and I was like, functional medicine, never heard of this.
What is that?
And so I started to learn, and the first change I made was changing what I was eating. The foods that we eat can cause inflammation. They can heal inflammation, actually. They can be medicine.
Yes.
And so as I made some dietary changes, I actually, my symptoms drastically improved.
Wow.
And over the course of a couple months, I was able to stop my methotrexate from a dietary change alone. I was still in the Enbrel, but yes.
So this is what happened. You were able to reduce the dose of your methotrexate to the point of stopping it. And methotrexate is taken as a bunch of tablets taken once a week.
Yes.
So it's like 7 tablets, 6 tablets taken once a week. The doctor would change your dose. And you were injecting it. Oh my goodness.
And I just want to say I did this with the guidance of my rheumatologist.
Yes.
Right? So they were helping me to,
absolutely. As they change the dose all the time.
Yes. And
lovely.
So that was the first, that was just astounding to me.
So pillars of the intentional living here. I didn't ask her, but she went to the first pillar and she talked about nutrition. She made some dietary changes. Those anti-inflammatory foods that you were putting on your plate. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the foods that you put on your plate?
Sure. Well, you mean nowadays or what I changed back then?
Anything that will help our listeners.
I would say, I want the listener that maybe suffering from an autoimmune condition to know that one of the biggest triggers is gluten.
Yes.
And it confuses the immune system. And so for me, removing gluten was game changer.
Wow.
Game changer.
Wow.
But nowadays, aside from just pulling that out, I don't want to just replace it with gluten-free products.
Yes.
There's a gluten-free everything. Like
There
you can
is,
have gluten-free
there is.
cookies, cakes, whatever.
Yes.
You know, that's not the goal.
Yes.
The goal is to, see what your body doesn't like and take that out, but also put the good stuff in.
Oh, I love
the fruits,
that.
the vegetables, the
Yes.
healthy proteins, the healthy fats, And so, yeah, you can imagine me having found this tool and what a profound impact it has. Now, nutrition is like a non-negotiable for me. Not that I eat perfectly all the time, like 80-20. You've talked about that, but it's just like it is one of my top values. We cook dinner at my house most of the nights. I cook myself breakfast. I can't do without that because I will have a repercussion. So it's just become my go-to.
So I know you, and I feel that, where your heart is where I want, my heart to be and the hearts of our patients to be. You are so bent on taking care of yourself and taking care of the people around you. So this process, you've discovered functional medicine during this time and you were practicing, and what changes did you make in your professional career that reflected this?
Sure. So as I learned, the nutrition change was my real eye opener to the power of functional medicine. So I started taking all the courses, listening to all the podcasts. I was just like, I was obsessed. Finally, I got my certification through the Institute for Functional Medicine, and I tried to implement this in my family practice. So I had been a family practice doctor at this point for over 15 years. Tried to really implement that, but the time allotted in my family practice was 10 minutes, 15 minutes for a client. There's a lot to do, and the education that I wanted to be able to, transfer, I just didn't have the time or the space. And I realized I needed to go, which was a heartbreaking decision because I loved my patients that I'd had for so long. But I opened up my own practice, Balanced Living Functional Medicine, and now I serve as a consultant. So I don't work as a family doctor anymore. I serve as a consultant because I want to take that person who's struggling and I want to help them find their root cause and get them feeling like themselves again, and then they can go back to life, right? It's fixing it at the root is like the most powerful thing you can do.
This podcast is sponsored by Journeys, your path to intentional wellness. Most health problems don't start overnight, and neither does wellness. With Journeys, you can take charge of your health before you have to. Every cell in your body is speaking to you. But when we ignore preventive medicine, we wait until those cells are screaming. Journeys helps you listen to the whispers. There are 3 different journeys to choose from, each designed to meet you where you are in your wellness path. The Core Wellness Journey for $199 offers a foundational look at your overall health, perfect for getting started and measuring 66 biomarkers. The Advanced Heart and Metabolic Health Journey for $339 measures 111 biomarkers and goes deeper into cardiovascular, metabolic, and thyroid health for a more detailed picture. The Comprehensive Longevity and Hormone Journey costs $469 and is the most complete view, including hormone, nutrient markers that support energy, balance, and healthy aging. This measures 120 biomarkers. Each journey includes a personalized recommendation, one-on-one care from your pharmacist, and follow-up support to help you turn results into lasting intentional change. You just won't get data. You'll get guidance, accountability, and a partner in your wellness journey. Intentional living means paying attention, staying curious, and taking steps towards the health you deserve. Start your journeys today. Click the link in the show notes. The most powerful thing you can do, and Dr. Roederseimer, she says, 10 minutes or 15 minutes is just not enough for me to get to the root cause and to find what's hurting my patient.
Absolutely.
You need more time. You need to listen to them. You need to talk. What are they putting on their plate? How are they moving their bodies? Test biomarkers and figure out all the other things that the regular guidelines for our healthcare system doesn't allow for you to do within a 10-minute or a 15-minute appointment. Yes. So tell us a little bit about balanced living. We're going to put a link to balanced living in the show notes for those who would like to consult with a functional medicine doctor. And that way she can help you look at the root cause of all these things. So tell us a little bit about balanced living.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, what I would say first is that what I really, through the many years I've been in functional medicine, I've come to see that the most powerful aspect of functional medicine is the lifestyle.
Ooh.
And so what I've shifted and changed over the years, but now new clients start with our lifestyle program. It's called Health Begins Here.
Yes.
And it's run through my health coaches. So I have 3 functional medicine health coaches. They're board certified. They work with me as an extension of me to help with that lifestyle component.
Yes.
And what we see in 3 months' time, just making some changes to your lifestyle, on average, is 63% reduction in symptoms.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Better than
That's
any
tremendous.
medicine out there. Yes. And I found I was the bottleneck in the practice, right? I can only see so many patients at a time, but I don't need to be the only one that can tell you how to change your diet or that you need to sleep more or take more breaks. These beautiful health coaches are like my army, helping me spread the word. And there's quite a lovely connection that comes from this relationship with the health coach, and they're your guide and holding your hand. And it warms my heart so much to see these transformations that happen. So after 3 months in that program, a lot of clients choose to either stay with their health coach because they're still getting benefit. Some leave because they've met their goal completely. And then some choose to work with me at that point where we do testing and supplement protocols and things. But honestly, I don't think those are, those are helpful. But if we're not sleeping, if we're stressed out all day and we don't eat well, like that's, in my mind, that's where we start.
I love that. I love that where you start. And, you just, trickled into one of the pillars of intentional living, which is the positive social connections. Surrounding yourself with people who think like you, have similar goals for you, have similar goals for themselves. So as we go on this journey of health together and looking at whole person health, like looking at the entire picture, medications, and my tagline at the pharmacy, at Power Pharmacy, is there is more to health than prescriptions. As a pharmacist, as a doctor of pharmacy, I know firsthand the benefit of medications. I know the mechanism of action, and how important they are. And I dispense the medications. I tell the patients how to take them and how to get optimal benefit from them. But always we have minimized the non-pharmacologic options. And that's what you're bringing to the table with your whole person approach and that lifestyle change.
Yeah. I think you and I are very much in alignment with that belief in the power of that, right? And the intentionality. I think that's what, working with a health coach, they help you to see and slow down and take some focus to be intentional on what do you want to do with this, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. You are a healer, you're a business owner, you are a mother, you're a community builder, you are all these things. And the stress that comes with that is enormous. We know that, and we can't pretend that is not here.
No.
We just can't be like, I can't see it. But how do you deal with stress, and what is your advice to handling stress?
I would say that this is kind of the cornerstone of my practice now too, is because what I learned, so the nutrition piece took me a great distance and feeling better. But it wasn't until I started to look at and see my stress that I could completely resolve my condition. So stress I just never thought I was stressed,
like you just go.
I'm like, okay, let's go, let's do this. And, it's not until you actually slow down for a minute. One of my first functional medicine conferences, they let us in a mindfulness practice.
Yes.
And I remember at the beginning thinking, I don't need this. This is not important. And it was like a 20-minute, mindfulness, which I had never done anything like that.
Yes.
And at the end, I thought, what is this feeling? Like, there's no heaviness on my chest. Like, I feel peaceful. Feeling? My brain is calm. It was the most beautiful thing. So I left that and realized I didn't have 20 minutes every day, but I was going to be intentional in taking 5 minutes for myself, which I call micro breaks, or now I term it push, pause to heal.
Oh, I love that. I was going to ask you for an intentional initiative.
That you would
tell us more about.
Sure.
So what do you call it?
Push, pause to heal.
Push, pause to heal. Tell me more.
Yeah, I don't use the word stop because that
Yes.
freaks everyone out, right?
Yeah, it's gonna freak me
can't
out.
stop,
I
right?
can't stop.
Yeah, but can you just pause? Pause is a temporary little situation, right?
Okay.
For 5 minutes in your day.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can spell out what I would suggest you do, but whatever it is, the goal is to not be productive, right? Said
Okay.
in air quotes during that time.
So what would that look like for me at the pharmacy? So
Yeah.
pushing pause
Sure.
for 5 minutes?
Yes, I
Tell
would love
me.
it if you had a
Mhm.
space you could go to. You have a consultation room.
I do.
You
I
could
have
close
plenty
the
of
door.
rooms. Yeah.
Close the door. There's no
Mhm.
computer open. Your phone's not on.
Okay.
Well, this I will say, I always set a timer.
Yes.
Because if we don't set a timer, our brains are just thinking, well, how long has it been?
Yeah.
Am I staying too long?
I
So you set a
see.
timer on your phone so then you can let go of that
Yes.
timepiece. And then I would love for you to take 5 big, deep breaths.
Okay.
And that full inhalation
Yes.
will trigger your vagus nerve, which we know is like the beautiful calming nerve in the body,
Yes.
slows everything down in a good way.
Yes.
Not in a bad way.
Yes.
And when we can shift and get into that parasympathetic, which is like rest, digest, repair,
Yes.
heal,
Yes.
then our body's innate healing capacity can turn on.
I love that. So those deep 5 breaths.
Yeah, there's 5 breaths. And then I like a body scan.
Yes.
So, if with the rest of the time, start at the top of your head. Oh, am I, my wrinkling my forehead? Is my jaw clenched or my shoulders up in my ears? And just
Tense
breathe into
shoulders.
that tension and just try to let's see if you
Loosen
can let
up
it relax.
and relax.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you just kind of go head to toe. And at the end, I expect you'll feel the way I was feeling
Just
in that.
5 minutes.
Yeah, just 5 minutes, you feel a shift. And then what happens is I would recommend you set an intention.
Yes.
I'm going to bring this feeling,
I'm
this
loving
calm back into my day.
Yes.
Right? And what happens? You go back, you leave your consultation room, you go back to the busy, bustling pharmacy, and people are coming at you with questions and things. And you're just like, oh, I got this. Because now I'm like grounded in a calm that I forgot I had,
Aww.
It's our bodies are so capable of showing up for us if we just pause.
I'm going to do that right after this podcast. I'm going to take my 5 minute and pause right here.
Amazing.
I love that. I love that. So it is time for one of my favorite segments on the podcast, and it is Supplement School with Emlah.
Love it.
So love Supplement School with Emlah, but there is no exam, okay? So there's no exam. So she said phew. And so tell me, what supplement is on your mind today and why?
Well, I think probiotics, truthfully.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yes, love that.
We've talked a lot about autoimmunity.
Yes.
And one of the drivers of autoimmunity is a leaky gut.
Mm-hmm.
We know that if you have to have a leaky gut to have an autoimmune condition.
Yes.
So probiotics are a beautiful addition to help the gut health. And I'm
oh
sure
my
you
goodness.
would agree
Yes,
with me.
I would agree 100%. Probiotics are one of those foundational supplements that if you were to come to the pharmacy and say, I can only have 1 or 2 supplements, you know that probiotics is getting on that list if you're only leaving the pharmacy with 1 or 2 supplements for the day. Reason being, majority, she talks about autoimmunity, and we support our immune health because, our resilience and prevention of disease really relies on our immune health.
Yes.
And 70% of your immune system
in the gut
is in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to support 70% of our immune system, we want to support the gut. And the gut is just, we are more bacteria than we are human. It's just
wild?
Strange to say, and it's just wild to think about it.
Yeah.
It is, their DNA put together is more than the human genome. So those little tiny microbes that are in our gut, we need to pay special attention to them, and we need to really take good care of them.
Yes.
And feed them the good food.
Mm-hmm.
Give them treats.
Yeah.
And the treats that they love is fiber. And so fiber and all the vegetables with the phytonutrients and all the beautiful colored foods. Yes. These are the prebiotics that we need to feed our microbiome with. And it's just, and every time you buy a probiotic, you want to take a look at the back of the bottle. Don't just say, oh, probiotic. Yes, Emlah said get a probiotic. No. The strain is more important than the species. The amount of colony forming unit. So probiotics are not measured in milligrams. It's not like a 5 milligram or 10 milligram. No, probiotics are measured in colony forming units. So you will see CFU on it. So it's 20 billion CFU or 100 billion CFU. So when you go to buy, you're looking at it, and there are different strains, there are different species, lactobacillus, Saccharomyces, bifidobacterium, and different strains do different things. Some are more tuned to immune health, some are more tuned to stress, the bifidobacterium, and there's just different strains like that. So the optimal probiotic 20 and the optimal probiotic 100, which I'm going to put links to the show notes at the bottom here. Those are specifically designed for an overall support of the gut health, to prevent that leaky gut and to just support the production of serotonin. We know about serotonin is one of our feel-good neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
Did you know that about 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut?
It's phenomenal.
Isn't that?
And we never think about this.
No, we
right?
don't, because we
Yeah.
don't talk about it enough.
No. It's
Because it's just, if your microbiome is down, tryptophan is down, inflammation is down, serotonin is down, your mood suffers.
that gut-brain axis.
It is.
It's really important. Yeah.
It is. So do yourself a favor, click on the link in the show notes and get one of those optimal probiotic, and just to support your gut health, and that supports your overall health. Well, Dr. Roederseimer, I cannot thank you enough for bringing your knowledge, your passion, and everything that you do for our community and for our patients to the podcast. I thank you for coming and spending time with us today.
Oh, well, thank you, Emlah. It's been an honor, and I can't wait to hear it when it comes out. And I would love to invite you to my podcast that I'm working on starting.
I am so excited.
Yes, you'll be one of my first guests.
I can't wait. So when you start the podcast, let me know and I will share, and I will be honored to be on your podcast.
Thanks.
And a gift that I ask of you is to share this podcast. You never know who is suffering from an autoimmune condition. You never know whose child is been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and this can, just inspire that child to one day become a medical doctor. And we don't know what a podcast will do for somebody. If you're inspired, please share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Give us a review and just share it so more people get to learn about looking at whole person health from a very beautiful perspective. And I want to thank you for tuning into the podcast of Intentional Living, where we're consistently taking small, great practical steps in the direction of our health goals. Be kind to your body.